Before the first pyramid touched the sky, before the first hieroglyph was carved into stone, Egypt already remembered what the rest of the world had forgotten. That knowledge was divine, and the soul was eternal. The sands of Egypt are not dead. They are alive with whispers. Every grain holds the breath of gods, the echo of kings, and the memory of a civilization that touched the stars. Beneath those golden dunes lies a truth so ancient, so powerful, that it was hidden from the eyes of men, sealed not in stone or papyrus, but within the very heart of time. This truth is said to dwell within a single relic, a book not written by human hands, a book whose letters burn with light and whose words can awaken gods. The Mysteries Book of Egypt. They say it contains the origin of creation, the secret of the soul's passage through death, and the formula by which man becomes divine. Those who sought it either vanished into madness or ascended beyond mortality. But legend whispers that the book still exists, guarded by silence, waiting for the one whose heart is pure enough to see beyond illusion. For the mysteries are not learned, they are remembered, and those who dare to remember will never be the same again. Before the first pyramid reached toward the heavens, before the sands of Egypt learned the shape of kings, there was a world still trembling with divine breath. The earth was young, and the sky was close enough for gods to whisper into the hearts of men. In those days, the boundary between mortal and immortal was thin as a veil of smoke. The gods walked openly among their creations, not as rulers, but as teachers. They spoke in symbols, not words, in patterns of stars, in sacred numbers, in the harmony of sound and silence. And through that hidden language, they taught mankind how to dream, to create, and to remember that within every human spark lies the shadow of eternity. From that sacred communion came the first words of creation, sounds not made by the tongue, but by the soul, words that could move mountains, command the elements, and shape the flow of destiny itself. These were the words of power, the echoes of divine intention, the blueprint of all reality. But wisdom, once given, becomes both a gift and a test. Not all who received the teaching sought enlightenment. Some desired dominion, to use the sacred words not to heal, but to rule, not to illuminate, but to conquer. They saw the language of creation as a weapon. Thoth, the great ibis-headed god, the keeper of all knowledge, saw this corruption growing among men. He was the divine scribe who wrote the laws of the cosmos upon the fabric of existence, the one who measured truth against the heart of chaos. And seeing the danger, he acted. With divine precision, Thoth gathered the purest truths of existence, the secrets of the soul's birth, the rhythm of life and death, the pathways of the afterlife, and the sacred formula through which spirit becomes matter. These were not mere teachings, but the very mechanics of creation, the code by which gods themselves operate. He inscribed them upon an immortal book, a tome bound not by leather or papyrus, but by essence itself. The ink was drawn from the light of the stars. The pages were woven from the breath of eternity. It was called the Mysteries Book of Egypt, a mirror of the cosmos and a key to the hidden gates of divinity. But Thoth knew that such knowledge could not remain in mortal hands, for the same words that could awaken the divine spark could also ignite ruin beyond measure. To speak them without purity of heart was to command the storm without knowing its will, to summon gods without understanding their fire. So Thoth sealed the book away, not in any temple built by man, not in any tomb guarded by stone, but in a place beyond reach, the heart of time itself. There where past, present, and future fold into one. He hid it behind the veil of eternity. He placed upon it a living curse and a living promise. Only the one whose soul burns brighter than their ambition, who seeks truth, not power, illumination, not authority, shall ever find the book. And so it was lost, not because it was taken, but because mankind forgot how to see. For every age that followed, men searched for power in temples, gold, and thrones. Yet the true treasure slept in silence, waiting to be awakened by the worthy. Some say the book still exists, whispering through dreams, reflected in the eyes of those who seek wisdom instead of worship. Others say it lives within us, written not in ink, but in spirit. But the old priests of Egypt knew this secret truth. The Mysteries Book of Egypt is not only hidden in time, it is hidden within the soul, and only when the heart remembers what it has forgotten shall the seal of Thoth be broken. and the words of creation speak once more. 1,000 years passed since Thoth sealed the mysteries book within the folds of time. Empires rose like waves upon the Nile, and fell again into silence. Temples crumbled, kings turned to dust, yet the river of eternity flowed unchanged, murmuring secrets only the wise could hear. Among the rulers of that forgotten age was Pharaoh Neferkara, a sovereign of unmatched power and divine ambition. He was called beloved of Ra, son of the sun, yet within his heart burned a deeper hunger, not for conquest, but for eternity itself. From his youth, Neferkara was haunted by dreams that seemed older than the world. Each night, he beheld a golden book floating in endless darkness, its pages aglow with living fire. That it whispered his true name, the name hidden even from priests and gods, the word that could command existence itself. But when he reached for it, the vision would vanish, and he would awaken trembling, his heart pounding like the drums of the afterlife. He summoned the wisest priests, the greatest magicians, the keepers of forbidden scrolls. Yet none could interpret his dream. Some said it was a curse from the gods for his ambition. Others said it was a calling, a sign that the Book of Thoth had chosen him. Still, the pharaoh's heart found no rest. Then one night, as the desert wind howled across the plain, a solitary figure appeared at the gates of the royal palace. An old priest wrapped in rags of sand and silence. His eyes shimmered like mirrors of the night sky, reflecting stars unseen by mortal sight. He bowed before the pharaoh and spoke. "The book you seek is not hidden in the sands, but within the soul. Yet know this, O king, to awaken divine truth, one must first die to illusion. Only when the self dissolves can the eternal be seen." Neferkara's voice trembled with defiance and desire. "I am Pharaoh, the living God upon the earth. Why should I die to know what is already mine?" The old priest smiled with sorrow. "Because, Almighty One, even a god who forgets humility will find only shadow in the light." But the pharaoh, driven by obsession, would not heed the warning that he ordered vast excavations beneath the pyramids and temples long forbidden. Ancient tombs were opened, their guardians disturbed. The air filled with the scent of old magic and the silence of the dead. One moonless night, deep within the heart of the Great Pyramid, Neferkara stood alone before a sealed chamber. Upon the wall, faint glyphs glowed like the embers of stars. At the center lay a stone tablet, smooth, radiant, carved not with ink or blade, but with light itself. When the pharaoh placed his hand upon it, the chamber trembled. The air turned to fire. Hieroglyphs spiraled into motion, swirling around him like living serpents of gold. A voice, ancient as creation itself, thundered through the stone. "You seek eternity, yet fear death. You seek wisdom, yet serve pride. The mysteries cannot be possessed. They must become you." In that moment, Neferkara saw the truth, that eternity is not a crown to wear, but a light to bear, not a treasure to claim, but a fire that consumes. He saw his kingdom, his body, his throne, all fleeting shadows upon the sands of time. That he fell to his knees as the chamber blazed with the radiance of Thoth. And then silence. At dawn, the guards found the pharaoh lying still upon the tablet. His body was lifeless, yet his face was serene, radiant with an otherworldly calm. Upon his forehead glowed the mark of the ibis, the symbol of Thoth, god of wisdom and truth. The priests, terrified and awed, sealed the chamber forever. They swore never to speak of what they had seen, for they knew that the pharaoh had crossed beyond the veil, not as a man, but as a whisper in eternity. But legends have long memories, among secret brotherhoods, among the initiates of light. The dream of the pharaoh endures. They say that his spirit still guards the gate to the hidden book, watching those who seek it, testing whether their hearts burn with wisdom or with pride. And sometimes, when the desert wind sings through the broken stones of Giza, it carries a whisper, soft, haunting, eternal. The mysteries cannot be possessed, they must become you. The tale of the hidden book did not die with kings. Its echo moved like a secret river beneath the surface of history, flowing unseen, yet shaping everything it touched. Beneath the grand temples of Luxor, Abydos, and Philae, where columns rose like forests of stone, hidden chambers were carved away from the eyes of the uninitiated. Here, the mystery schools of Thoth were born, sanctuaries of divine remembrance. where priests, philosophers, and seekers gathered not to worship, but to awaken. Those who entered came not as students, but as souls willing to die to their old selves. They were told, "The book you seek is not made of pages or ink. It is a mirror, and what you see within it will either free you or undo you." Within these sacred halls, the initiates of light underwent the rites of the Duat, the journey through the Egyptian underworld, but it was not the literal realm of the dead they sought to traverse. It was the inner landscape of the soul. Each chamber of initiation mirrored a gate of the Duat. Each test symbolized a truth the heart must face. They began in darkness, a place of total silence, where the initiate confronted their own fear, pride, and shadow. There, they learned that to conquer darkness is not to destroy it, but to understand it. For the gods taught that shadow and light are twins, not enemies, but reflections of the same divine fire. From there, they passed through the chamber of transformation, where they symbolically died. Their bodies were laid upon cold stone, their breath stilled, while sacred words were spoken above them, the utterances of resurrection. 3 days and nights they remained in this state, suspended between worlds, as the priests chanted the hymns of Osiris, god of rebirth. When they rose again, it was not as they had entered. Their old self was ashes, their new self flame. They saw visions of the stars opening, of the scales of Ma'at weighing truth against illusion, of the heart becoming lighter than a feather. They understood then what kings and conquerors had never learned, that immortality does not belong to the body, but to the awakened spirit. The final chamber was known as the Hall of the Feather, the place of revelation. There, the high priest would speak the last truth, the one that ended all seeking. The true book of mysteries is not written in words, nor sealed in time. That it is written upon the heart that remembers. When your heart becomes pure enough to read it, the gods themselves will speak through you. And when the initiate emerged from the underground halls, they were no longer merely human. Their eyes carried the stillness of eternity. Their voice spoke not from the mind, but from the soul. They had walked the Duat and returned, reborn not into power, but into understanding. It was said that from these schools came the first philosophers, prophets, and healers, those who carried fragments of Thoth's light into the world. They taught that the path to godhood is not ascent, but remembrance, the rediscovery of what we already are. And so, the lineage of the mysteries continued, veiled in myth, preserved in symbols, whispered in temples, and later echoed in every wisdom tradition to follow. The book remained hidden, yet alive, breathing within every soul that dared to seek its flame. For the journey through the Duat was never about death. It was about awakening, the sacred passage through illusion into truth, through fear into light, and in the silence of every heart that remembers, the words of Thoth still echo. You are not seeking the book, you are becoming it. 1,000 years rolled over the earth like waves upon the Nile, and memory itself began to fade. The golden age of the gods was swallowed by dust. Temples that once rang with hymns of eternity now stood broken beneath the weight of silence. The statues of Thoth, of Isis, of Ra, their eyes once alive with divine presence, stared blankly into a world that no longer remembered their names. Humanity, once a vessel of sacred knowledge, turned its gaze away from the heavens. The wisdom that had flowed like light through the temples of Luxor and Abydos was forgotten, buried beneath the noise of conquest, greed, and time. The world had entered a new age, the age of iron and noise, where men built empires of stone, but hearts of shadow. Yet legends do not die, they sleep, waiting for the turning of the cosmic wheel, for the alignment of heaven and earth to stir their breath once more. And so, beneath the surface of forgetting, something ancient began to awaken. The same stars that watched over the first priests of Thoth moved once again into their ancient alignment. The great pyramids, eternal sentinels of stone and geometry, stood silently beneath their cosmic mirrors. Orion, Sirius, the stars of the Duat, as if remembering the covenant of creation itself. Unseen to most, the air trembled with a hidden rhythm, a memory older than language. Those who listened, not with their ears, but with their souls, began to feel it. A whisper, faint yet familiar, stirring in dreams and meditations, calling through the chaos of the modern world. Know thyself, and thou shalt know the gods. The ancient voice returns not from the sky, but from within. It is the same whisper that spoke to the Pharaoh in his dreams, that guided the initiates through the Duat, that breathed through Thoth when he wrote the first divine word. It is the voice of the book itself, the living record of truth, calling the children of earth to remember what they once were. For the mysteries book of Egypt was never truly lost, because it was never a thing of clay, or ink. It was never meant to be held. Only awakened. It was not hidden in temples or tombs. It was hidden within the soul of humanity. Every heart carries a fragment of its light. Every thought, every act of compassion, every search for truth. These are the pages of the eternal book being read once more. The divine knowledge of Thoth sleeps in the human spirit, waiting for silence deep enough, humility pure enough, and love strong enough to open it again. And now, as the world trembles beneath its own weight, as machines hum where chants once rose, and light flickers in glass instead of flame, that silence begins to return. Amid the noise, the still voice of the eternal calls again. The temple is within you. The God you seek is the breath that speaks your name. The book you search for is your own awakening. When the heart becomes still enough to listen, the hidden light begins to rise. It is not a fire of destruction, but remembrance. The return of the divine spark long buried in the dust of human forgetfulness. It reminds us that wisdom is not ancient, it is eternal. And so, the prophecy fulfills itself once more. The light that once illuminated the temples of Egypt now stirs within modern souls. The book opens again, not in the hands of kings, but in the hearts of those who seek truth beyond power and peace beyond knowledge. For the hidden light never left the world. It only waited for you to remember it. And when you do, you will see what Thoth saw in the beginning, that the universe is not something to be worshipped from afar, but something to be awakened from within. The hidden light has returned, not in temples of stone, but in the temples of the human spirit. And from every corner of the earth, the call is heard once more. Artists, dreamers, wanderers, and seekers all feel the same stirring within, as if an invisible hand has touched their souls and whispered, "Remember." They are the new scribes, the heirs of Thoth's flame. But unlike the ancient priests who wrote upon papyrus and stone, these scribes write upon the living canvas of time itself. Their words take form as art, as poetry, as music, as truth spoken in defiance of illusion. Every act of creation born from love, wisdom, and inner fire becomes a verse in the eternal book. For the mysteries of Egypt were never meant to end with the sand. They were meant to awaken through generations, in new forms, in new tongues, yet carrying the same divine rhythm. In dreams, the new scribes see flashes of memory, temples glowing under starlight, chants echoing through endless halls, symbols of light spiraling through the air. And when they awaken, they do not always understand what they have seen, but their hearts know, their hearts remember. They begin to feel what the ancients knew, that the universe is not something outside us, but something written through us, that the same force that moved through Thoth when he wrote the first sacred word now moves through every awakened soul that dares to listen. And so, in this age of iron and light, when machines mimic creation and voices echo endlessly across the void, a quiet revolution begins, not of empires, but of consciousness. Every person who chooses awareness over ignorance, truth over comfort, and compassion over power becomes part of this awakening. They are writing again in the language of eternity. It is said that when enough hearts remember, the book of mysteries will open once more, not as an artifact, but as a living revelation that a wave of understanding will pass across humanity, like the dawn returning after a 1,000-year night. And in that light, we will see not gods above and mortals below, but one essence, mirrored through countless forms. Then the words of Thoth will be fulfilled. The pen is the soul, the page is the universe, and every thought written in love becomes creation itself. The book was never lost. The light was never gone. It has only been waiting for you, the seeker, the dreamer, the new scribe, to awaken, to remember, and to write the next chapter of eternity. And so, the circle of eternity closes, not in endings, but in awakening. The Mysteries Book of Egypt was never bound by pages, nor lost in time. It lives in you. Every question you ask, every truth you seek, Every moment you choose light over shadow, you turn another page in that eternal book. But the journey does not end here. Just as Thoth passed the flame to Pharaoh, and the Pharaoh to the initiates, the light must now pass to you. For the wisdom of the ancients survives only when it is shared. Comment. Let your voice join the eternal dialogue. Your thoughts, your reflections, your light. They breathe life into this story once more. Share. Carry this flame beyond yourself. Let others hear the whisper of Thoth, the song of awakening that still calls across time. You never know who among the sleeping hearts may remember because of you. Subscribe. Walk with us through the corridors of forgotten wisdom, through the temples of myth and memory. Every story you hear, every truth you uncover, brings the hidden light closer to the surface of the world.